So today we got to play SETI. Now this game just came out at the end of December. I definitely think it was in your Christmas haul, correct?
Not really. It was an Essen release, and I had pre-ordered it for Essen, and it came out right before the end of the year. So it came out right after Christmas.
All right, but before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. Now, Randy, can you tell us a little bit more about SETI?
I can. So SETI, the search for an extraterrestrial intelligence, is currently rated at 8.4 on Board Game Geek, which is pretty outstanding.
Holy moly! So we've played this a couple of times now, and we tried to review it last week. A lot more
than a couple times.
We tried to review it last week, and it was at 400 and something, so it really has climbed.
8.4 is the rating.
Oh.
The rank was 433, now it's 395.
Still, I mean, this thing's climbing.
Yep.
It's climbing.
1 to 4 players, age 14 and up, average length of 40 to 160 minutes. Designed by Tomas Holek. Art is by a whole slew of people, but the ones that are named are Andrzej Hradina. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing these, I'm sure. Otto Kandera, Jiffy Kus, and Jacob Lang. Published by CGE or Czech Games Edition. It's currently sold out on all the online retailers. The only place you can find it currently where you can order it is directly from CGE. The Card House, Miniature Market, pretty much everybody's selling it at MSRP for $69.95. There's some people selling it for higher than MSRP, which I always hate. But so yeah, if you're wanting it, you're going to have to go to CGE at the moment, but I'm sure it'll come back in stock at all these places.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the quality of components. This is
a lot of cardboard.
There is a lot of cardboard. But they added some few little nice touches. Like you do have these satellites that actually look like satellites.
These are using that new technology that CGE has been using where they're basically using recomposted material and combining it with like some kind of bits of plastic to create bits that look and feel like a plastic and that can be shaped in any form, molded. So I really like what they're doing. It's good for the environment and it also looks nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have the discs, which are, again, part of that which looks really cool. I love the fact that the data has a engraving 0001000. Like, that's really, really cool. And, I mean, in some aspects, some things feel basic, but in others, the presence that it has, the rotation of the board, and other things like that, it feels a lot higher quality. Plus, you've got the metal coins.
No. So the metal coins were upgrades for Dune Imperium that I purchased. These are the upgrades that were released by Stonemaier for multiple games. We have sets of them, and I actually have lightning bolts because the tokens are lightning bolts, but I couldn't find them, so we just use these. And then the money is cardboard as well that comes with the game.
So maybe not as cool because I was playing with upgraded pieces. Still, there's some nice things about it, given the fact that I now know it doesn't have metal coins.
It's definitely all cardboard. Inlay boards are nice, and they do have a textured finish. The cards, though, do not, which is a disappointment. They're slick finished.
Well, you're going to sleeve them. We go through them.
There's a good.
You probably need to sleeve them.
They're a good consistency, but these are definitely we're going to want to sleeve them.
Especially with the amount we ended up playing this.
Yes, was it unanticipated how often we were playing it.
So with that, then I will probably give it a 7.5 for quality of components. I think they did some nice things. But obviously we had to upgrade because we're
snobs.
We're peace snobs.
I do like the sun in the middle of the board that they use as
because that's not upgraded, right?
No, that's part of the game, and it has a nice the texture of it looks like it could be a sun. I mean, it's not glowing or anything. I almost want to use the bits that we got for the game where you do have the lit up stars to put in here for this, but it wouldn't hold for rotation because all the pieces are based on that shape, and it would have a tower it stood on. But yeah, I think 7.5 is about where I'm at on it.
All right, so moving on to the theme. The theme is you are searching for alien life, and in fact, you do end up finding it, and you're trying to work with the aliens to become the most famous science researcher, really. So that's the theme. It fits.
Yeah.
It is spot on. You are sending out probes. Yeah, you can go and try to read signals. You're sending out your probe to land on different planets or to orbit planets. Yep. The fact that it is an orb, right?
Or you can scan directly from Earth.
Yeah, you can. That's scanning directly from Earth. The cards all have so the cards have like an actual project that have happened, is planning to happen, kind of thing. The theme, spot on. They did a fantastic job. The art's really pretty. It's very eye-catching. I don't really see how they can make it any more amazing, so I'm really right at 9.5 to a 10. The theme is spot on.
Yeah, it's definitely well integrated in the game, and I like the flavor text on every card having to do with the projects. That was a unique thing, and I thought, you see that a lot in animal games, but this is the first time you see it in space, which I thought was really nicely done. So yeah, given that, I probably am with you on that. Yeah, 9.5.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the actual rule book. Okay, the cheat sheets, and I say cheat sheets. It's a cheat book. The only qualm that I have is that it doesn't remind you of. There's one thing that always bugs me, and I always forget about it.
There's a lot of things that bug me about the rules, but go ahead.
I don't remember what it was, but there was something as like, man, they should have really had it on there. But yeah. Anyway.
All right, so the rules, the book, it looks like a dossier. It's 28 pages in length, but you don't have to read all of that because there's a good chunk of this which is solo play, because there is a really thorough solo game in this. The problem is the rules, there's a lot of little rules in this game, and it's very easy to either overlook in the rulebook or it's absent from the rulebook, and you have to make interpretations. And it's particularly noticeable when you involve the alien races, because the alien races are not in here at all. There's a sheet for each one of them, a rule sheet, and the integration of the two is where I think there's a lot of issues where things are kind of gaps. One of the big ones is there's some cards, the symbology would imply, and I think it's probably correct, that they have an icon for landing. And some of the cards will give you, for a very cheap cost, a free landing onto a planet, which normally takes a lot to land as far as energy goes.
Well, I mean, it starts out at 3. You get the upgrade power. It's down to 2. But if you have an orbit, it's 1 less. So, or not you. I mean, anyone can have an orbit. So when you land, it's 1 less. So I mean, it can be a cost of 1.
You're getting a perk on top of that with those cards, and for this one alien race. And it's like, this seems overly broken.
I will say, I thought about stabbing you multiple times, because you kicked our butts when you started going down that card route. So you may be right that not all's fair.
So the rules actually go from you have setup and you have your contents, but the actual gameplay starts at page 8, and it kind of walks you through each of the actions is how they teach you the game. And then you go through detail of each of the icon sections for the tokens that you can add to upgrade your board, and the milestones that you can get for end of game scoring. But they didn't really go into detail on the cards. So there's iconography, and the cards are completely iconography. But then you have to combine the icons, and then sometimes there's gaps in those things. And there's not a way to figure out what it is without going online and hopefully finding the answer. And particularly now where it's not even out yet, it's sometimes very few answers. Answers are few and far between. I had to post some questions to get answers back. So I'm going to give the rule book, I'll probably give it a 6.5. I think it's a lot of content. It's a very complex game. I would call this a medium to heavy game, and it's a tricky learn. But once you learn it, you're gonna play.
It's
have
not
to play
so
it
bad.
several
Yeah,
times just to get all the concepts.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely a medium to heavy game. Moving on to the actual gameplay. So when you have your turn, so it's like you take an action, the next person takes act, just like Terraforming Mars, everyone takes an act. Well, on Terraforming Mars you get 2, but in this game you only get 1 action, and then you keep going until you pass, and then you'll go into your income phase, just like Terraforming Mars. Alright, so some of the things that you can do, obviously, is you have a set of cards. You can play a card. All the cards do cost money. They don't cost any other resources. But the cards are actually pretty unique because there's multiple things that you could do. You can pay the money cost to get the benefit, which is typically how you'll end up using your cards. But there's other things going on as well. So you have this bottom here that will end up being an option for income. So when you have an opportunity to increase your income, you're going to take a card and slide it under your income pile, and you'll get this bottom here. Now, however, there's also an instant action. Say I don't have any money, but I have a card that I'm going to use. I can use this top icon here. So in this case, this one's a movement. I can just discard this card and move my probe one space. Now, the other thing, like I mentioned earlier, when you're doing signals and you can choose to discard a card to get to another signal, there is another one up here in the corner, and that color is based on where you can create that signal to. So again, just depends on the gameplay. The other thing, so that's card play. The next thing is launching a probe. I can pay 2 money and launch a probe. So that's me taking my guy, going here on Earth. All right. Now, part of my free actions is I can spend energy to move them. So again, it is a free action, so I can spend energy and move it for each energy I go up. Now, if I were to land somewhere, I would get the bonuses. So
you don't have to land. You can actually just pass through.
Sorry. Visit is actually the terminology. I can go visit Mars, and I can get 1 reputation, which is this track, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. So there's that piece. You can then, if you end up on a space, orbit. So orbit is another action you can take. It costs 1 money, 1 energy. There are cards that give you orbits and different things like that, but just be aware. And then that lets you take your guy. You'll no longer have this probe roaming across because you're actually doing something with it. So if I was on Mars, I'm going to go to orbit, I'd pay my cost, and I would get the benefit. So in this case, I get 3 victory points and the stuff up here up top, which is a card, a signal in the red area, and a income. So with that income, I would take one of my cards. In this case, I'll take a thing, and I would slide it under my pile, just like so. And then I would get my income. Okay.
You would get the energy now for that card, because that's an energy card, but then every time you pass, when you get your income, you would get it. That is extra energy.
So it does behoove you to, even if you have the create incomes, to still do it, even if it is the last round, because you do get that resource immediately. So it's not a complete waste towards the end of the game, which actually is very helpful. Like that, I think that was a very good choice on their point. The other thing I can do is land. So say if I didn't want to orbit Mars, what if I wanted to land on Mars? I could do that. Landing takes a lot more energy. It takes 3 energy unless there's already an orbit in place. Reduces by 1. I've even got the upgrade for it, so it even takes it even further down. But if I land, I'll get the benefits that are on here. So in this case, since this has already been landed once, I get 1 data point, 6 victory points, and a orange triangle. Now the orange triangles have to do with about discovering the alien races and interacting with them. Okay, so if, for example, I did land and I get an orange, I'm going to go and I'm going to look up these 2 aliens that we have going on right now. I'm going to choose a spot to place an orange. Okay, now certain ones have certain requirements. Now these oranges are completely filled up, so I can't, well, there's still an option. If I had a purple cube, I could discard it and get 6, or I could go down here and get 3. That's not a huge benefit. But over here, this orange one, there's a 5 victory points 1, or a 3 and a card. I'll take the 5 victory points. because, hey, 5 victory points, always awesome. So that's what you get for those different triangles. So you'll see different things that causes you to get triangles, and that's basically interaction with the aliens. The other thing that you can do, obviously, we mentioned about scanning. So we're scanning from Earth. I'm going to pay 1 money and 2 energy. And without any upgrades, I'm just going straight through here. So I'm going to take this cube off, place mine down. I get 2 victory points because of being the second one. That's kind of cool. So I get my data point. And then I can choose to discard a card from up here, flip that one over, and the color that's in that corner, I can then place elsewhere. Now, the thing is, there is a lot of upgradable availability with this game. For example, there are 4 upgrades you can take for the scan action. There are 4 upgrades for launching or movement kind of stuff. There's also upgrade for the signal, which is data collection. So I got my 2 pieces of data by scanning. And I upgraded my thing, so now I get 2 victory points and a coin for placing those down. When that fills up, I can take another action, which is called analyzing data. We'll do this instead because I'll cap it out. You don't have to fill the bottom rows, but you do have to fill all the top. I can spend an energy, remove all the data, so it opens it up so I can fill it up again. And then I get a blue triangle, which again is us dealing with the aliens, okay? Which, again, a lot of time will give you victory points. The last and final thing that you can do is research tech. Now, I'm going to pretend that I'm over here at 6. So I can choose to remove 6 reputation and gain a tech of some sort. Basically, I maneuvered my reputation in getting a contract for some new and exclusive tech. And I will pick the one. Now, if I'm the first one to take on that tech, I get 2 victory points. So that's actually really cool. But it also upgrades in different ways based on the tech. We're not going to go to every single one, but you kind of understand that it modifies.
It also causes a rotation of the planets, and that's kind of one of the cool mechanisms. They have a little disc up here that moves around 1, 2, 3 of which of the rings you rotate. So at the beginning you start at the rotating 1, so you would rotate the inside one and then move it to where the next time it rotates to go 2, and then there's a middle ring, and then the outside ring would be the final one, and then it would reset back to the central.
Yeah.
So everything shifts around. You can get pushed into asteroids or out of asteroids.
Going out of asteroids is awesome. No, there's definitely some benefits of kind of managing that turn, because maybe you're trying to get to Jupiter and maybe they're on the opposite side. So sometimes having your guy just travel with the Earth until it gets closer to Jupiter is totally a thing, because maybe you don't have a lot of movement. So that's kind of helpful in that sense. Their cards can also give you a choice to circle the board. The first person that passes also will trigger a rotation. So there's other different mechanics that will give you that. There is a lot of smaller rules. We're not going to get into them. This one is one of those heavier games. So you're sadly going to have to read the rules yourself.
There's a lot of free actions you can take on your turn, so you can accomplish. You start with very few resources throughout the game, but you'll still find ways to take advantage of those and get resources back so that you can continue your turn and moving.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is victory points. How do you get them, right? So victory points a lot of times are dealing with the aliens. You'll also get victory points for filling up the signals, which is a bit of an area control. I didn't kind of mention that when we were talking about signals, is when all the data has been completely removed and it only has player tokens. Whoever has the most gets the benefit from having the most. Everyone gets a reputation, but there's some additional stuff there. And also, end of game victory points is over here. As you reach certain levels of victory points, you get to place one of your tokens on here, which there's 4, but you only get to place 3 on victory points. And depending on how fast you got there, right, you get more victory points for that particular scenario. So overall, we played this game a lot. We really enjoyed it. So 2-player, not as good as more players.
Yeah.
It was doable.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll choose to play 2 players.
The main issue with 2-player is that the planets collecting the data and doing the signaling, it doesn't fill up fast enough with 2 players where you can actually place a lot of alien tokens from that. And with 3 players it plays a lot better.
And I think it will even be better at 4.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is like the sweet spot's 3 to 4 players on this, and then of course I don't know, the solo mode, if you're into solo gameplay, might be great too. But yeah, it's really they put in a mechanism for advancing the alien races, but they didn't put any mechanism in for the scanning for when you have 2 players, and that's really where we saw a deficiency in the 2-player game.
Yeah. Other than that, it was fine. It's playable, but it's a lot more fun when you have more players. Overall, so I really enjoyed hardcore resource management. You're very limited, trying to get income at the beginning, but trying to manage to get things done, trying to get interaction with the races. There is a lot going on, and it is a lot of fun. So overall, I really enjoyed this game. It was absolutely fantastic. I had a lot of fun. Again, better at 3 and 4 players than 2. It makes you sit there and think. It's also not horror. It's not like crazy long either, because sometimes some of these heavier, complex games gets a little long. Well, not the case.
Setup is a beast.
Setup is a beast, but I never have to set it up, so I'm fine. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Rating-wise, probably going to give this a 9 at the 3 to 4 player. A little bit less for 2 because it does there's a few sticking points. But I really enjoyed it. What about you?
So, well, first I want to point out that there's a lot of variability and flexibility in the game. All of these goad ones, I wish there was a little more, but there's
I do
4,
wish there was more.
And they're 2-sided. So the big issue is how do you get 2 different sides randomly, because they always, if you flip it seems like they always land with the smooth side up. I don't know why, but that's how they always land. So you almost have to shuffle them and just not look and just turn them up one way or the other while you're shuffling them. But there's really 8 choices there. There's 5 alien races. In each game you're only going to have 2, and they start face down, so you don't know what they're going to be yet. There's obviously the cards, you don't know what you're going to get, which is my favorite part. It's like Terraforming Mars, very similar in the sense that you have to adapt your strategy based upon the cards you get, because you can't play one way and always win. You're going to have to adjust to what you get.
Yeah.
Given that, if it weren't for the quirkiness of the alien race integrations, I would have given this a 10. And I'm probably going to give it a 9.5 because of that. So, to point out, we had Adam here to join us for the video. He had watched some video playthrough online. He came back and wanted to play it again the next day. Within a few days later, he was like, are you planning on having gaming? Because we've had a lot of snow here, and thankfully he lives fairly close by. And he was like, my work's closed today, and I could come join you for gaming. I wouldn't mind playing SETI again.
Yeah, we played twice in a day. Well, they played twice. I came home from work and played again. So I think we liked it a lot.
Yes, and he definitely did. So I think this one is definitely worthy of all the I don't know if you call it hype or the fact that it's popularity already. I
think there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
I think it is a good, solid game. So this is an easy one for adding in the expansion, adding some more scoring here. Hopefully maybe get some more clarification on aliens. They can even add more aliens when they want to later. I think this is a great, great game. So overall, you said 9.5. I said 9. There is a reason for the hype, guys. I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah, if you're into heavier games, because
yes, it is a medium to heavy.
Not something to introduce non-gamers to.
No. But definitely, if you like some sci-fi, this is a great one. Well, guys, we'll had a blast. Hopefully, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.